Danger. The emergency destruct system is now activated. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone, John Wild with the Eco Guys, and I'm going to be answering some questions today concerning one topic. These questions I get through Instagram, through email, the website, Facebook. I get a lot of questions, and one of the questions I get, because people are more confused because there's so much misinformation out there, is junk mail. And what can be done about it? Is it recyclable? How do you recycle it? Where do you recycle it? Well, we're going to answer those questions today. We're going to have some samples of some junk mail, and I'm going to tell you where you can recycle it and how easy it is actually. So, number one, a lot of times in mail, personal information, confidential information is sent through the mail. So you need to be very, very careful on how you recycle certain types of information. One thing some people do is they invest in a shredder, and they will shred what they feel only is, and this is what I suggest, especially if you want to be green, only shred something that's considered to be confidential or have confidential information. That is your full name, social security number, things like that. A lot of people say, well, in my junk mail, excuse me, it has my full name and my address and this and that and the other thing. Man, I tell you right now, that's public record. Anybody and everyone can get your full name, can get your address, your tag number, things like that. What you need to be more concerned about is social security numbers, credit card numbers, bank account information, driver's license numbers, things like that is what is really considered to be confidential information. And if you get mail with that stuff on it, that is when you really kind of need to maybe shred that stuff. So what do you do with confidential mail or mail that you feel you can't recycle? Do you throw it away? No. Anything you put in your trash bags, you should be using trash bags, trash containers, and you wheel it out to the curb, by federal law becomes public domain. That means basically you just put your confidential information in the trash can, set it out at the curb, and anyone legally now can come and take it. So what do we do? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. Okay. Again, shredding it helps. Good idea. What I like to do is everyone practically has a fireplace, a barbecue pit, one of those outdoor little burn things are real popular now. I usually get a nice little paper bag, and if I run across, let's use this for a sample. I'm really not prepared for a sample, but we will use this as a sample. Let's say I have a confidential piece of paper. What I do is I will ball it up. Boo, disappeared. Anyway, put it inside the little paper bag. Once that paper bag is full, or almost full, I have so much paper now to start my fireplace, to start my burn pit, to start my barbecue grill, because as you know, and we're getting into spring again, using charcoal and lighter fluid is the worst thing that you can do, because cold charcoal and lighter fluid has chemicals in it that, despite the rumors, do not burn off and goes into your food. So what do? You use natural wood. I don't even use gas. I use natural wood in my barbecue pit, because it gives that flavor. It's natural. There's no chemicals. Use just like hardwood. And I'm sure that you've got neighbors that have sticks and twigs and limbs that fall. You probably have sticks and start saving these sticks and limbs, and you break them up, and then when it's time to start your barbecue pit, you got an all natural wood to burn in your barbecue pit, and it believe me too, it'll help the flavor of your food. Try it. You'll never go back. So that's what I use the confidential paperwork for, is to start my fireplace, my burn pit, uh, barbecue pit. That's what I do. That's what you can do. Once you shred paper, though, some municipalities will take that in their recycle bins at the curb or whatever. But normally, once you shred your paper, it's done. Now, if it's non-glossy, regular paper, here's something else you can do real quick. Once you shred your confidential, and if it's that non-glossy, if it's like a regular paper, you know what I mean by non-glossy, like no magazine material, you can actually put that in your compost pile, and it will compost down. So there you go. That's how you get rid of it. Now, non-confidential, plain junk mail, get a lot of that. So let's see. I have a sample here. Here we go. One of the biggest one, insurance sales. Okay, so this is a really good example of a junk mail card. It's a card. It's called Cardstock. It's kind of glossy. See that little shine, 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 and it feels like a business card type. It's called Cardstock. Okay. Now, sometimes when you get sales material like this, you can look on the material, and it will say, if you wish not to receive any more, call this number or whatever. Give them a real quick call. Say, take me off your mailing list. You don't have to worry about it anymore. But when you do get these, they are 100% recyclable. Absolutely recyclable as paper. Sorry about the shadows, but I'm in the shadows. Anyway, so basically what you do is you take this in, or you take it, you put it in your curbside recycling if you have it. Goes with your cardboard and mixed paper. If you don't, any dumpster behind any convenience store that says cardboard only, you could put this in there with that. Just slip it on in there, recycle it. Because all cardboard manufacturers, the recyclers, recycle paper as well. They'll know what to do with it when they get it. They will recycle it. So if you don't have curbside recycling, you can put this in where you put newspaper or cardboard. It will get recycled. So please do that. Again, in my office, a little paper sack on the floor. I put all the unwanted junk mail in that. It goes off and gets recycled once a week when I go out to the recycle. We got these big recycle bins here. But yes, that's what you can do. And if it's shiny cardstock, absolutely make sure it gets recycled. So let's go through some problems that you might run into and questions. These are the big ones right here. Windowed envelopes. Now, they got the plastic windows. What to do with those? Well, you take your, be careful. Take your trusty letter opener, open them up. I'm already prepared for this. All right. Open it up. Take out your contents. Come on, contents. Take out your contents. We'll talk about contents in a minute. And now we got this. It is an envelope with the plastic. So what do we do in this situation? Be green. This is white paper. One of the most easiest to recycle paper next to newspaper that there is. So let me show you. All you got to do is simple. You just deconstruct the envelope. Open it up. Now, some of them they got the little, you know, where it's all glued together. You just rip it open. How long did that take me? 5 seconds? Time me this time. Ready, go. 4 seconds. So now it's open, and we got that dreaded plastic. What do we do with that? Well, it's really super simple. You pop, get your little shears out. Oh, he's cute. Anyway, get your little cutters out. I usually start right above, because you look in here, there's a little glue spot where the plastic is. I start just above that, and I just cut it out. Looks like I need to sharpen my scissors. Be very careful when you do this. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to cut yourself. You know, you have the kids do this. That's fine. They need to learn how to be green. Make sure that they don't cut themselves. Then you got this. We'll talk about this in a minute. Now you got a white piece of paper. That's really literally an envelope is. Now a lot of people say, well, the glue, I heard you can't recycle it because there's glue on it and all that. Myths, legends. No, we've got a long way in technology. Yes, you can recycle this. Put this in your curbside recycling, in your mixed paper, newspaper, cardboard, junk mail, whatever. Here's another thing too. Most United States post offices, most of them, where the P.O. boxes are, have a container that says recycle mail. So you could take your mail back to the post office, look for one of those, pop it in, they'll recycle it. But excuse me, we're learning to do this at home. Now, I like money. So I like to earn as much as I possibly can. I actually keep all of my white paper because white paper is a commodity and you can get paid for it. So I have these big boxes back in the closet, and anytime I have white paper, white ledger, anything like this, I put it in there, and then twice a year, I would say, I go turn it in for a few dollars. A few dollars I didn't have before. And sometimes your kids, you could say, hey, I got white paper for you. You give them a nice box to store in their room and let them earn money and learn to be green. But other than that, this can go with your mixed white paper once you cut out the plastic. Now, what to do with this? Unfortunately, there's dry drop everything. There's not a lot you can do with this. Now, if you want to be an extreme recycler, you have a little bucket of water. You could soak this in there. Excuse me. Sorry, coughing. You can soak this in there for a couple of days. The paper will come off, and then you can peel this plastic off and take it to where you turn in your grocery bags, things like that, and recycle it. Or unfortunately, got to go to landfill. But you've taken this waste and you save this from going to landfill. And you may say, well, I'm just one person. It doesn't matter. Think of all the billions of pieces of mail delivered. You're not one person. We all need to pitch in because it actually turns into a lot eventually. Contents, sales, things you don't need. Now, see, this was filled with white ledger paper. Now, what white ledger paper is it's pure paper, non-glossy, kind of like your printer paper, your typing paper. Not a lot of color to it, things like that. That is white ledger. If you're saving it to recycle it and get money, there's your white, this is white ledger, white paper. It can be saved. Go through it. Make sure there's no glossy cards. There's nothing with a lot of color to it, like colored brochures or anything like that. And then recycle it. If there is color a lot of color on there, if it's glossy and things like that, that's considered magazine material. Recycle that in your curbside recycling, anywhere cardboard is recycled, anywhere newspaper is recycled, anywhere that paper is recycled can take that. Okay? Then you got your envelopes that are just plain pure white envelopes. Again, you open them up. Ooh, this was an easy one to open. Open them up. Look at the contents. Sales material, of course. Now, pure white envelope. Some glue to it, no plastic, no tape. That's white ledger. But it could just be recycled as we've been talking about, regular paper. And of course, I look on the inside, and there is a return envelope. These are little return envelopes, okay? White paper, white ledger. There's no plastic on it. There's nothing. If it's blank, I like to reuse these. But if they're all like typed up like this and all that, it's kind of hard to reuse them. So recycle this one. But if it's blank or it's just got like a simple address written on it without all this gobbledygook with the return, I reuse them. Why not? Why go out and pay for envelopes when you got tons of free ones coming to your house? And I look in here and it's a survey that I was sent. A survey. Unless you're paying me, I'm not giving you a survey. It's all white paper, all white ledger, so you know where that's going to go with me. You know where it can go with you. Okay. What was this one here? This was just basically, oh, okay. So, again, a white envelope, opened it up. Not really pretty opening it up, but did. That's white paper, that's regular paper, it gets recycled bin. Now there's white paper in here with a little bit of color at the top, okay? Oh, wow. Look who it's from. Sales, I know. So that is actually white ledger if you're saving it. It's got a little bit of color here and there to kind of look fancy. Not a lot. Most of it's black and white. So that's white ledger. Of course, recycle in any way, shape, or form that you feel that you want to recycle that. We've already explained it 1,000 times on this thing. Another return envelope. Recycle it like I've been saying. Now here, this is what I'm talking about, white paper with a lot of color. Even though it's not glossy, it's white paper. It's got a lot of blue on it. It's got a lot of color to it. This I would be hesitant to put in my white paper. I don't want it rejected. So if you're not, this goes in your regular paper recycling on your junk mail. These get a lot of these little brochures that come in the mail. They're kind of glossy. Again, they go into your curbside recycling, cardboard recycling, paper recycling, absolutely 100% recyclable. If you work in an office, excuse me, in an apartment complex, you live in an apartment, you get a lot of these. By the way, this is a great pizza place in Orlando, Florida, if you're ever there. I'm holding on to this one because they just got great pizza. It's a brochure. Are these recyclable? Absolutely. Curbside, any paper recycling, it's magazine material, so it gets recycled. By the way, saying magazine material, obviously your magazines, catalogs, does anyone get a phone book these days? Phone books and all that, 100% recyclable. And then of course, the big sales envelopes like this, I get questions on. They're very glossy. They got pictures of people. Okay, yes, recycle. Open the contents though. Always open up the contents of your junk mail. It was so funny funny story. When I was doing a lot of recycling, we had bins set up at apartment complexes for a while, accepting junk mail at these apartment complexes. It's a way to keep a lot of the waste out of their garbage. And everyone was throwing their junk. They look at it, throw it away. Well, there was some sales thing going on in Orlando where there was a nickel placed in a lot of these sales things, and people weren't realizing it, and they were throwing it all in there. And we started going through it. Well, of course, we opened it up just to make sure that there's no plastics or garbage inside the thing. We don't sit there and read people's mail. We just open it up, separate it, and go. You know, massive, quick sort. But we started finding these nickels, and we literally had a one of the smaller coffee cans filled with nickels by the end of the day. It was incredible. So always check your junk mail. I've seen junk mail that has a dollar bill in it sometimes. Always check your junk mail. You never know. So you take the contents out. This has got a lot of color. The return envelope's got a lot of color. Everything's got a lot of color on this one. So this will all go in the magazine material. Recyclable. It's great white paper, but unfortunately they colored it up to kind of make it look fancy. Look at all that red underlining, like people care. So unfortunately it's recyclable. It's not unfortunate, you can recycle it. It's just recycling white paper back into white paper is so much easier, less energy, and you make money when you turn it in. And then of course you got the big pictured colored envelope. Magazine material, absolutely put it in the recycling. Do something good with all of that political garbage. So that pretty much answers the questions on that I've had on junk mail recycling. Basically, all junk mail is recyclable. Just open it up and make sure. Sometimes they send those little fake credit cards with your junk mail. None of those are ever real. We do accept those. Go to our website and see that you can actually send us old credit cards, key cards, driver's license, any kind of plastic cards. gift cards and all that, you can actually send that to the Eco Guys to be recycled. All that information's on our website. Just make sure you go through the contents of your, open up your junk mail, separate it, yeah, make sure everything's cool, put it in your bins to be recycled. There are hundreds of thousands of tons of junk mail thrown out every single year. Hundreds of thousands of tons. Yes, we need to stop that. Just get this paper recycled. You got to think about, trees give us life on Earth. It gives us oxygen. It cools the earth. It does what it's supposed to do. We saw these things down. We make paper out of them, and then we just throw the paper away once we're finished using it. When paper is so easily recycled, I just don't get it. I don't get why we are still such a throwaway society in 2022 when it is so easy. It is easier than ever to recycle paper and all that today. Easy. There are, I guarantee you, on your way to work, you will pass 100 opportunities to drop off paper or cardboard to be recycled. 100, at least. Prove me wrong. Behind every convenience store, there's a recycle bin. Okay? Every post office, there's a paper recycle drop off. Just about every post office. 97% of them. Offices have recycle programs because, for one reason or another. Sometimes it's they just don't want to pay to throw out garbage, which is fine. Good, recycle it. Just don't toss your junk mail in trash and add to the problem. Oh, it'll biodegrade in the landfill. No, it won't. Not the way they do landfills today. They have excavated landfills from 20, 30 years ago and found junk mail and newspapers in pristine condition, readable. Nothing wrong with it, because when you throw stuff away in a landfill, it gets compacted, it gets into a vacuum, and it just sits there. It will not do anybody any good. It just sits there. All right, so any questions you have, you can comment below, email us. All the information to get a hold of us is below in the description of this video. And let's be green. And thank you for spending about 25 minutes with me today to talk about how to properly recycle junk mail. And if you're concerned about anything that you want to recycle, even junk mail, you can send anything to us practically. Go to our website to see restrictions and what we take. But you can send us your junk mail. We will properly recycle it. If no other place in the world can do it for you, stick it all in an envelope, send it to us. And I was going to show you one of the envelopes. I got this great envelope. I should have kept it. But it was a 100% recyclable envelope that people sent us, 100% recyclable material inside to recycle. It was a brown envelope made from paper bags with a paper tape on it. It was so perfect. I love these people, but I just don't have it. But always also remember this. Amazon. Those famous Amazon bags that we get tons of stuff in. Remember, those go back to your store. That any store that takes plastic grocery bags, things like that, if you don't want to reuse your Amazon bags, they can go back to the grocery store to be recycled like grocery bags. Just wanted to throw that in. Take care, stay green, be green, peace, love, strength. Take care of yourselves.